It is easily the single most common question I get asked on this channel. How do I find my design style? And in this video, I'm gonna break down why that question is stumping you and how to go about answering it. Okay, I thought I was gonna say something else. I wasn't. We're gonna talk about how to find your design style. We're gonna talk about 3 major pitfalls that people encounter when they're trying to answer this question. I'm gonna talk about ways you can experiment and try out design styles without having to spend your life savings and redo your home 100 times. I'm gonna include several free resources I put together that are gonna help guide you on this process. Things you can download, things you can read, click through images. It's gonna be great. And to tie it all together, we're gonna walk through a live example as I try to help my brother find his design style. So if you or somebody you know is just really at a loss with trying to name their design style, trying to decorate their home, I made this video for you. Okay, here's the video. And before you leave a comment, yes, this piece of hair sticking out is bothering me more than it's bothering you. I think it stays like that most of the video, and I'm sorry I don't have any solutions to offer at this point. Okay, the number 1 pitfall I promise you're hitting is that the problem with Pinterest, with Instagram, I find they're actually not great for discovering. The way the algorithms are built, they've gotten really good at feeding you more and more of the thing you'll definitely already like. And I think they really fall flat for discovering new things that you've never thought of. Even on my own Pinterest account, where I feel like I have exposure to a lot of design variation, I sat down recently on my Pinterest account to pull together some inspo images to show my brother, and it was pathetic. It was pathetic trying to find images on there. So if you're having trouble getting exposed to different designers, different styles, I have put together an entire Pinterest board with just like a very large variety of beautiful images and styles. It doesn't cover everything because I'm not gonna live forever. But this Pinterest board is a really great starting point to be able to branch out and get exposure to a lot of different things. You can use them as a jumping off point, start following new designers. You cannot find the thing you like if you aren't ever exposed to lots of options. And eventually what we're gonna do together is we're gonna play Design Tinder, and we're gonna be swiping yes, no on images. It's very, very fun. We'll talk about that later. That board is linked in the description. I put a lot of work into it, okay? Broke my back over it, so please enjoy. Okay, next up, giant, huge pitfall. Instead of thinking about styles, I want you to think about your design adjectives. Most designers could not describe their style in a single word. If you think about fashion, your wardrobe, very few of us have just like one word we would use to describe our entire wardrobe. And there was that trend going around on TikTok of trying to capture your wardrobe in like 3 words, having your 3 adjectives. And I don't know why we wouldn't be doing the same thing with our interior styles. One word it's just limiting. It is tripping everyone up. So I really encourage you, forget about the styles, these big umbrella names. Try to get 3 to 5 adjectives. And another reason I think the styles, one style is so silly. Think about like modern rustic. My style is modern rustic. Well, those are 2 different styles that one person combined together, and then it became so popular that they gave it a name, modern rustic. But that's how it happens with like every single style. It's a combination of a bunch of styles, a bunch of characteristics, and if it gets popular enough, then we give it a new name. And that's how we've ended up with all these like hybrid name styles, and it feels more overwhelming than ever. Like you have to choose one to fit you, whereas the reality is you just have to get your characteristics. You don't have to have the title. You just need to know, like, I like a little modern, I like a little rustic, maximalism, minimalism, because you can have a style that is retro and maximalist. You can have a style that is retro and minimalist. So if it feels impossible to put yourself in one box, that's because it's a ridiculous thing to try to do. I couldn't describe my wardrobe in one style. So I would just abandon the boxes and have like a couple adjectives. For example, I put some time towards thinking about my words. What would my design words be? I think it would be early American, pops of pattern, durable, layered. Now, if you're thinking, Caroline, these design adjectives are all fine and dandy, but where'd you learn to do such good squats? Well, that's a great question. Now, let me take a moment to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Trainwell. I was hoping to film one of my train well workouts for you guys this week. Let's do it in the woods. And squat, and squat, squat, and squat. I'm with friends on like a wooded island this week. There's no gym around, so I just made sure to ask my train well coach to put together a workout this week that I could do anywhere without any equipment, without any weights, and we're gonna get a great workout in. People on YouTube ask a lot about my fitness routine. I think also because like all of my siblings are really fit, and that's because we were raised by two medical professionals who taught us that it's not about special tricks or gimmicks or a crazy diet. It's really the basics. It's about like eating well and being consistent with your workouts. If you're like me, I struggle with consistency. Most people do, and TrainWell has been the best thing. They used to be called Copilot. Basically, what's genius about TrainWell is they combine the personalization and accountability of a human trainer with all the benefits of technology and the convenience of technology. My trainer is named Jill, so we chat, we message, we can video call, and she adjusts my workouts as frequently as I want to. I told her I was coming on this trip, she adjusted the workout for me. When I first met with my trainer Jill, probably over a year and a half ago now, I was recovering from my knee surgery, so she took that into account. I wanted her to mix in the variety for me, because I know for me, variety and not getting bored is the key to staying consistent. TrainWell was previously called Copilot, and while the trainers and core services remain unchanged, the new name underscores their commitment to human-led personal training, emphasizing the irreplaceable value of a genuine human connection and the expertise of their amazing trainers who will give you the gift of never having to think about your workout. And not having to think about your workout is so important, because if I have to plan my own workout, that is one more unnecessary hurdle between me and actually getting to work out. With TrainWell, I just open the app and immediately receive a personalized workout made specifically for me. I don't have to plan or think, I just do. If you have been waiting for the sign to start getting more consistent with your fitness regimen, this is it. The first 100 people to sign up with my TrainWell link will get 14 days free plus $25 off their first month. This is it. This is the thing you've been looking for. I promise you. Excellent. Now that we've solved the mystery of my amazing squat, let's return to the mystery of your design style. Well, Caroline, where do I start with this? Good question. I have made, once again, an entire list of design adjectives to get you going as a jumping off point. I'm going to link it below. So while you're doing design Tinder, swiping through images, maybe using the Pinterest board I shared with you, maybe using whatever inspo you have, start noting to yourself some of the words that stand out. Wow, look at some of these adjectives. Asymmetric, bold, clean, colorful, classic, crisp, delightful, cushy, eclectic, edited, elegant, scary could be a word, lavish, layered, luxurious, lived in. I'm gonna add lived in. I think that's a good one. It also doesn't have to be a word, it can be a phrase. It can be whatever is evocative to you and paints the picture. I think one of your words could be dark woods. Y'all won't find a light wood in my home. You will not find it. Dark woods could be one of my words. If it feels useful and descriptive to you, great. If it paints a picture, great. Okay, let's talk about filtering down. We've got all the inspo images in the world, all the inspiration, but we want to filter down to our North Star. A North Star, whether it's for a single room you're designing or your whole home, your whole home, we want to get your North Star, which is like a pretty limited collection of images that like every time you look at it, you're like, yes, that's the goal. That's where we're headed. You know, if I'm shopping and I see this piece of furniture, should I get it? Should I get this? I can look at our North Star and be like, does it fit in? No, not gonna buy it right now. Love that piece, but it doesn't fit with our North Star. But how do we get there? Great question, Caroline. So we're gonna walk through an example process of this that I did with my brother. My brother is shortly moving into a new home, and the home itself is still under construction, but he already told me that he would like a little bit of help designing his bedroom when the time comes. So I headed over there to scope out the space, see what's going on, and then we filter down to his design style. This is probably as big a house as I would want to be in. All right, let's walk through this way, because this is where the bedrooms are, right?
Yeah. This is guest or
guest bedroom
or roommate bedroom. I don't know if I want to make this like my office or like my Pokemon room.
Coda, don't eat that. Okay, now this is my favorite room. We're gonna go upstairs, I'll show you. Coolada. Coda. Oh! working. That's really good.
Oh, we can see there.
This is what I would want to be my bedroom for sure.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, to ceiling, to baby windows for a baby.
They're way too small for anyone.
Yeah, look out on a beautiful lawn.
It's pretty sweet.
Oh, I love this so much. Wow.
This might be my bedroom.
I love it. Yeah, but with all the stuff you have downstairs, I don't know how you would make this work.
Yeah.
It could be your bedroom, but you have to really practice keeping clean then.
Yeah, and there's no bathroom.
Yeah, tricky.
So I have to poop on my bed.
Don't poop on your bed.
No, finish job.
Wow. What a great tour. I wish Luke could give every apartment tour on earth. That's the only way I ever want to see a home. So after we did the tour, he and I sat down and I presented him with a big Pinterest board I'd collected that I thought something in here he might like, or he might hate all of them, and that will be helpful information for me to know, and then I'll go put a whole different board together. Now I'll tell you what, I was kind of expecting Luke to go very dark colors, dark blue wall, like bat cave, and what we discovered in this process was exactly the opposite of that. I was like floored. I was floored by how wrong my guess was, and so this process was really effective, and he said it was fun, so there. So this is what you're gonna do. Starting with a bunch of images, a lot of variety. It does not have to be cohesive. In fact, it shouldn't be if you're trying to explore. And we just played Design Tinder. Swiping left, right. Do you like it? Swiping left, right. He'd swipe yes on a photo and I'd say, okay, why? What do you like about it? It's important to ask why. And I think it can be difficult at first to articulate what you actually like, but push yourself through this. When I really pressed him, it turns out he just liked that table. Okay, great, so you don't like the rest of it, you just like the table. Great, we're gonna take a little screenshot of the table. That's something we love. Another photo, he just didn't like the art, no grandma art. So basically we did one pass through all the photos, Design Tinder. Step 2, you're gonna go back and do another pass, filter down again. And from the photos he first selected, some of those, I think he said yes to just because he didn't know how to say no at first, or now that he's seen more images that he liked more, he doesn't like those ones as much, and we filter down and do that as many passes as you need until you end up with like a pretty cohesive set of images. And while we were doing those passes, filtering down, I was taking little notes of some words that jumped out, words, phrases, whatever. He really liked an image that was clean, really clean, modern. He said a little bougie maybe. I did not know what he meant by that. Like that doesn't evoke a clear image in my mind, a little bougie. I don't know what that room looks like. And it wasn't until later that I understood what he was picturing by that. So this is where language gets tricky, because I'm like, a little bougie, I don't know, that could mean something different to a lot of people. Later on, once we filtered all the way down, I understood what he meant. Bright, airy, lots of space. He said no wall clutter, like no gallery walls, very simple wall decor. He doesn't want any grandma art, no like antique art. Doesn't like wall panels, doesn't like wall paneling. It feels like too retro. And then a phrase I wrote was Japanese stuff. He got really excited talking about like sliding doors, folding partitions, Zen. And I think we just did 2 passes through, and in just 2 passes, we ended up with these 4 images that he loved, and they're cohesive. Now I understand what he means when he says Zen, when he says bright, clean, modern, and when he says a little bougie. He means like a little fancy, polished, maybe a little expensive looking. We're not doing rustic, we're not doing industrial, we're not doing weathered or antique. This is what he pictures for a little bougie, and now I understand what he means. But to me, the standout word that I came away with from that process was Zen. He wants it to be really peaceful, really calming, bright, uplifting, light, you know, clear-headed. And that was so literally the opposite of what I thought he was gonna say going into that. I literally was thinking he was gonna be like dark blue walls, dark navy, like rustic, manly, you know, whatever, cabiny. I was completely wrong. Sorry, I stereotyped you, Luke. Sorry. So now you've done your Design Tinder, you've got that cohesive set of images, but there's another pitfall. Just because you like a style in a photo doesn't mean you necessarily like living in it. And it does take a little bit of experimentation and paying attention to see which ones you actually like in person versus just the photo. So how can we test out styles without blowing our entire life savings? I have some tips and tricks for you. The best money-saving, risk-minimizing tip I can give you for experimenting with different styles is do a contained experiment. You can test out a lot of styles, by just experimenting in one little vignette of your home. Say a dresser. What kind of lamp you pair with it? What kind of art you pair with it? How much art? What kind of accessories? What patterns? What colors? How little or how much do you accessorize? How modern are the pieces? How much vintage? So if you do your Pinterest filtering, don't rush and buy an entire room's worth of stuff or entire home's worth of decor. Just go and decorate your dresser that way. Experiment, play around, leave it for a week, a day, whatever feels right. Enough for you to be like, either I love this every single time I look at it, or I thought I would like it, but something's off. Something doesn't actually feel like me. It feels like I'm playing at something I saw online. And you might not even have to buy new things to do this. You might be able to just use things in your home. Another great place to do this is your entryway. Entryways are usually like fairly fluid and in flux a lot design-wise. There's probably a lot of accessories you can move in and out and like test out a whole design style just in your entryway. I don't even really have an entryway, but I've got that dresser there. And that's a perfect encapsulation of my style. How can we minimize risk? Simply start thinking back to those things that you have always liked. What have you always liked and felt like special and at home in? For me, it's my grandmother's home. Very cozy, lived in, lots of fabric, small spaces. I don't like open concept. I like cozy nooks. It is this hotel I stayed in as a kid in Italy. It was a convent. It was a convent that also was like a little hotel, and it was so sparse and pared down with dark woods, but just crisp. Loved it. Have thought about it since I was like 8 years old. Think about those spaces. It could just be one or two that you have always, always loved. That's what timeless is. That's the thing that's going to stand the test of time with you. Okay. That was like the loudest clap ever. Oh, that hurt my ears. Okay. I wasn't expecting that sound from my own clap. Time and time again, I see people aspire to a really cool style, a really cool mood board they put together. And then when it comes to actually making the purchases and pulling the trigger, they get scared of the risk. And so they go for something a little more subtle, a little more basic, a little more safe. And when you make that decision over and over and over again, you're gonna end up with a really unremarkable space that often doesn't feel very inviting, doesn't feel very personal. It's not gonna be horrible, but it's definitely not gonna be what you were going for when you set out to make that mood board. So just be aware of like all of our capacity for fear, trying to avoid the risk. And this is how I'd say to handle it. You do not have to take a risk on every single thing, but I'd say just toss a couple in there. Manageable sized risks, 1, 2 risks, and then if you have more safe choices around it, excellent. But practice taking little risks. Maybe it's an accessory you buy, maybe it's a color you try, maybe it's something you can return, maybe it's something you can sell secondhand or give to your sister if you don't end up loving it. Speaking of risk, y'all, the single biggest risk that you really don't want to take, the riskiest thing you can do is trying to just design and decorate your home, you know, in a day. Oh, we're buying our forever home. I don't really know, like, I don't have that much stuff I've collected. Like, let's just get it decorated. Let's get it decorated this week. That's the biggest risk, biggest risk. You really don't want to do that. You do not want to buy all your purchases in one day or in one wedding registry. The way to mitigate risk the most with your design is to have started collecting and curating and experimenting long before you're ever in that permanent forever home. A lot of people hold out to the forever home. That's not the time to start experimenting. That's when it's expensive. That's when it's high stakes. Start experimenting right now, in your rental, in your college dorm, in your parents' basement. Holding out until you get your forever home in order to start this process is kind of like never experimenting with your hair, your outfits, your makeup until your wedding day, and then expecting to nail it. Like, you might get lucky, you might nail it, but like most likely it's gonna be weird. You have to do that experimenting beforehand. Like you have to test out. I really like that image of just being like, I'm not gonna wear a dress ever in my life or have my hair done or do my makeup until my wedding. And I hope it'll be good. It's like, woo, that is a lot of pressure now. That's a lot of pressure. Let's try some things first. Let's try some things before that day. Okay, I believe in you. I believe in you. As a reminder, I have put a huge list of design adjectives that you can use to brainstorm, calm down, in a link in the description. I've made a giant Pinterest board of a bunch of design inspo images, all the Pinterest links, link to, Instagram accounts, other Pinterest accounts if you want to follow designers, get some cool stuff mixed into your feed. If you've been admiring this vase, this abstract floral design Ikebana vase, it was handmade by my brother, Luke. That's right, you know him, and you can find it on his Etsy shop. I will link that below as well. Wow. Ooh, wow. I'm in a weird mood. I'm in a weird mood. I feel like my voice is so loud. That clap was so loud. You remember that clap? It just feels really loud in here. It became nighttime in the middle of filming and there's a storm outside. I kind of feel like I'm drunk right now. I feel weird. I think I'm dehydrated. I was crying. I cried a lot recently to the point where I woke up with a hangover today, literally from dehydration. Like I keep crying all my water out. I couldn't make this video. I've been putting off making this video for so long because I felt like it was a really important one and I was really excited about it, and then I put all this pressure on it and then I was crying, and not about making the video. That'd be dramatic, and I don't know, I just couldn't get it together to make this video. So I ended up watching some other YouTube videos. Sometimes I have to get myself hyped, so I have to be a hype man for myself, so I watch other YouTube videos I like. Sometimes I watch my own YouTube videos and I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. And I have to get myself excited. That might be embarrassing to say, but sometimes I do watch my own videos. I'll watch my greatest hits if I really am procrastinating making a video and I have to go back and remind myself that I can do something worthwhile. I think I am really dehydrated. So I'm gonna get some water. You're going to check out these Pinterest images that I really put them together for you. I hope you like them. Everything's fine. It's just life. Everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. Sometimes I just cry. Sometimes I don't cry for a long time, and then sometimes I do. What a fascinating sentence. Write that down. We can cry when it's over. Thank you again to Trainwell for sponsoring this video and this tush. If you want to get on this tush train with me, the first 100 people to sign up with the link in the description will get 2 weeks free with a personal trainer plus $25 off their first month. You know what you need to do.